What are some of the challenges of being in law enforcement in a region like Mendocino County where there's so much marijuana grown?
Well, the challenges are not that there's so much marijuana growing. The challenge is that the laws that are on the books are not black and white. And I'm going to say that there is no agreement on what the marijuana laws are in California. So my focus is to go after the people who are, in my opinion, taking advantage of the good-willed voters of 1996 when they passed Proposition 215.
And how are people taking advantage of that proposition?
Well, Proposition 215 was written to be a medicinal marijuana ordinance, a law. And it's a very vague law, but a 20-year-old with a sore shoulder who says he's growing to improve his quality of life maybe needs to suck it up and get a job. And the sore shoulder is going to go away. And they've turned it around to say, this is my God-given right to grow marijuana. Well, wait a minute. Is it a God-given right of your neighbor to be able to go in their backyard and trim their roses or have a barbecue without smelling marijuana? I say it is.
And I imagine since this is such a big county that the actual nuts and bolts of enforcement is kind of a challenge in and of itself.
For the most part, our marijuana investigations are complaint-driven. You know, if a neighbor called and said, my neighbor's growing marijuana and I think the sheriff's office should investigate, our deputy would go to the house and they'd look and, if need be, eradicate the marijuana, arrest the person, and see that they get their day in court.
Do you think that people should be able to grow marijuana and make a living from it?
I think people should abide by the law. And Proposition 215 wasn't a proposition on how to make your house payment. If they're selling one plant and making a profit on it, they're in violation of the law because they're a commercial marijuana operation.
I mean, the reason I ask that question is that there are a lot of people who believe that the only way to survive as a medical marijuana grower in this county, specifically as like legalization in California might come, you have to be upfront. You have to say, this is who I am a grower. But they feel that the danger of doing that is getting undue enforcement on compliance issues from the sheriff's department.
I can tell that you've been influenced by some people's very strong opinions.
Well, and in a sense, I'm trying to bring their complaints to you to see how you respond to them.
Remember, when Proposition 215 was passed by the voters, it did not allow for any profiteering. So while there's people who say, this is how I make my living, you know, and I have to make my house payment, and I have to pay my child's orthodontics bills and so forth, I'm saying, well, that's great, but that's not what the law is.
You know, the law might change. There's like certainly a lot of energy towards making recreational or adult use legal. Is that something you'd be in favor of? How do you think that would affect the county?
I have so many things to worry about throughout my day that I do not spend a lot of time on hypotheticals.
Sure, but it's something that seems to be coming, like the legalization of marijuana is a wave that's kind of hitting a lot of this country. And Mendocino County, Humboldt County, Trinity County, it's where a lot of the marijuana in this country is grown. So how is it that you aren't preparing in a how are you preparing?
You know, I'm going to guess you're very good at what you do of doing interviews and knowing how to operate a film crew and whatever, okay? I'm very good at enforcing the law. Excuse me, I listen to you, listen to me, okay? No one can predict where we're going, and if we don't know where we're going, we don't know what our problems are. If we don't know what our problems are going to be, we don't know what the solutions are yet, but we'll figure it out.
Thanks, Sheriff. Appreciate the time.